97.5 and now FM, Lansing's #1 hit music station. Normally, he's doing the interviewing. He is the interviewee today. Ladies and gentlemen, the long time host of the biggest party on the planet every Saturday night, open house parties, John Garabedian!
Here I am. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning to you.
14 degrees in Lansing. Nobody's dancing today.
I gotta tell you, I'm really gonna try to stay on point and not gush. But I mean, if I had an hour to spend with you, I'd want to spend 2 hours. That's just the truth.
Well, hop on a plane and come in Saturday night where you can hang all night.
You know, I was thinking about this morning. I must have been probably 16 or maybe 18, but I think I was more like 16. I was definitely on dial-up, and I was, of course, a big fan back then, and somehow we came to exchange emails, and you did at that time. You said, hey, if you're ever in New England, you know, come on by. And
yeah, oh yeah, it's a real party. We really have real people, and it's not, you know, some laugh track, but you know, it's always great to have people come in, especially people like you who are radio people who understand how it all works.
Such an inspiration, such an honor to be talking to you for that reason and a myriad of others. And bittersweet because you made a big announcement recently.
Yeah, I'm going to be leaving the show after, well, it was supposed to be New Year's Eve, my last show, which is coming up in just 3 weeks.
Crazy.
But they don't have anybody yet, even though I told them a couple of months ago this is happening. So they said, oh, can you stick around a little bit till January? I said, yeah, I guess so. So, because I really love doing the show. It's just that after doing it for 30 years, it's like, you know, there are a couple other things I'd like to do. And, you know, I've done this, and I love doing it. But, you know, it does take a lot of time during the week. People don't appreciate getting ready, prepping. You know, you do interviews sometimes during the week. You have to record because you can't get Taylor Swift on Saturday night.
And also, you know, I mean, a big commitment for your Saturday nights for you.
Well, that's true. A friend of mine who named Chris Schiebel, who's originally from Wisconsin, but he's in Portland, Oregon. He runs a bunch of radio stations out there now. He said to me about 20 years ago, when was the last time you had a Saturday night off? And I said, I don't have Saturday night off.
Exactly.
You know, there's no vacations. There's no. A couple of times we have repeated a show when I, you know, had, you know, no voice or something. But you know, and honestly, I can't think of anything I'd rather do on Saturday nights than the show. Except, you know, you've got to move on. You know, you don't want to keep doing it instead of, you know, well, it's getting boring and tired. You know, you're letting people down. You want to go out when you're still rocking.
And there's the perfect segue to talk about your book, The Harmony of Parts, your life story.
Yeah, it's the story of my life. And aside from that, it's basically a story of, you know, growing up as a kid and looking at the world and saying, now, wait a minute. The way they tell me this isn't the way it is. And you got to, as you go through life, you've got to figure out the rules of life for yourself. You know, we just went through an election where people are promising to bring back jobs and all this. And the truth of it is automation has wiped out a lot of jobs, but they don't tell you that. They say, oh, I'm going to save everything. So you got to say, you know, what's the BS and what's real? The Harmony of Parts title of the book pertains to putting together your harmony of parts. If you have a dream in life, if you have something you love to do, you want to be someone, you want to, you know, whatever it is, whatever your dream is, you got to go for it with gusto. But you can't get there until you put all the parts together that put you in harmony with life. Because once you're in harmony and tuning yourself into the way the world works, you're going to glide instead of struggle.
Talking to John Garabedian, host of Open House Party, his new book, The Harmony of Parts, and the fact that he's leaving the show, Open House Party, next year. We'll chat some more in a minute. Hang on. 97.5 now FM, Lansing's #1 hit music station. Alessia Cara, Strickland, and John Garabedian. Open House Party, of course, every Saturday night. And John talking about the fact that he's leaving the show next year, but also he's got a new book out. Called The Harmony of Parts. And in your book, you talk about being involved in, you know, at a younger age, newspaper and TV. Why did radio stick?
radio is live and now and immediate and a direct connection to people. And I think that's the thing I enjoy about it the most. What I do in the future will probably be in oral services, and I'm still trying to get my feet on the ground with exactly, specifically what I'm going to be doing. But it'll be another adventure. And not to say that I'm bored, but, you know, in life, if you do the same old thing over and over and over and over, after a while you say, well, you know, I should do something new and stay fresh.
Right. Was that a hard leap to make, though?
Yes, it was awful. And I have a cabin up in northern Vermont that I built many years ago, and I went up there all by myself and spent a week up there, but I had to come back on Saturday. and you know, it was like my 40 days in the desert. I had to figure it out. Do I really want to do this? And I thought, you know, if you're not, when you cut the dead branches off a tree, you make room for new growth. And I can't emphasize how much I love doing the show, but I still love the idea of a new challenge, and that's really what it is. And I think in the book, that's what hopefully comes through, because as you know from reading it, I've had a very interesting life. Yeah. and that's why I wrote the book. I tell people stories from my life, and they say, wow, John, you ought to write a book. And one night I was having dinner with some friends on Cape Cod, and they said the same thing. You ought to write a book, after I told some story. And the woman said, well, my cousin is a publisher. I'm going to call her up. And boom, on Monday she called her up in Wilmington, Ohio, where the book publisher is. So, you know, the book has that, but it's also, as you know, Josh, it's got all these stories about all the artists I've met. You know, I've got the story of Lady Gaga's self-destruction, how after her first two incredibly successful albums, she fired everybody around her, and she took the Prince route. Prince did the same thing. He was the biggest star in the universe, and all of a sudden, he started thinking that he was the producer, he was the everything, and the career went away. So we talk about that. There are like 200 pictures in there. People said, when you meet people, I'm sure this happens to you, they know you're a DJ. The first question is, oh, have you ever met, you know, fill in the blank?
Right, yeah.
So I put like a bunch of pictures, dozens and dozens of pictures with everybody from Kanye West to Justin Bieber when he was 14, Rihanna, a couple of pictures of her, one when she was 17 and another one when she was a grown-up wearing almost nothing, which she likes to do.
Not difficult to write a book, I suspect, after doing what you do and having done it for so long.
Well, it's the way it worked is the writer would show up at my house every week, and we'd sit for 3 hours, and this went on for a year. He did the writing, but the editing I had to edit it 5 times because I just wanted it to be in my voice, not in his voice. You know, initially the book had a lot of profanity in it, and I don't use a lot of profanity. You know, I swear, but, you know, every third sentence doesn't have, you know, a 4-letter word in it.
Right.
So I had to clean that up to make it sound more like the way I talk. And then, you know, putting a few things in that weren't in there, taking a couple of things and modifying them to be more accurate.
One of the things I found particularly interesting, and I mentioned actually this just a bit earlier, your involvement with the newspaper. It was a school newspaper called The Smoke Signal, and you were the editor. And I thought, well, you know, here we are full circle, and you're editing this book.
Well, life is a circle, and I think Einstein said that if you shot a rifle out into space, eventually that bullet would come back and hit you in the back of the head. Because the whole universe is a circle, according to his calculations.
John Garabedian, host of Open House Party, Saturday nights, 97.5 Now FM. New book, The Harmony of Parts. John announcing he's leaving the show after 30 years. We'll talk for just a couple more minutes with John here in just a few. Hang on. 97.5 Now FM, Lansing's #1 hit music station. Strickland, Thursday. John Garabedian, Open House Party, Saturday nights, of course, but announcing recently he's leaving the show. And he's got a new book called The Harmony of Parts. Talking to him about that, but I saw a video recently of you giving a speech, and you talked about this phrase that you close every show with. That
was a long, long time ago, and I always thought it was to have an impact on people and you know, make another emotional connection, which is part of how you get people to like you. I should be saying something that empowers people to try to be the best they can be and be who they are. And, you know, I think in life a lot of people just kind of take what comes and they don't have a focus on what they want for themselves and where they want to end up. You know, you're on the radio, you're doing a morning show, which is the top shelf of what you do in radio. And that must have been your dream when you were growing up. So that's exactly what I wanted to point people to, that there's something that you love doing, and you got to go for it. And if you go for it, you'll be happy. Learn from yesterday, live for today, dream for tomorrow, but most important, be your dream. Be who you want to be. Be the best you can be.
And I think that's what the magic of Open House Party is. Anybody can do a show, anybody can have guests, anybody can play requests, but, you know, that is what John Garabedian brings to Open House Party, and that's what's made it such an amazing thing for almost 3 decades.
Well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
Modeled after what I've learned from you. I hope to offer that on the radio every day.
Well, yeah, and just imagine right now there are one person listening, 10, 100 people listening who hear the message that we're giving about going for the gusto. You've got to go for what you love. And if you do, you're going to hit obstacles along the way. But because you have passion and love for what you do, you'll work through them because the reward is on the other side. Where if you're just doing some stupid job that you hate, looking forward to retirement. I mean, what's retirement? You know, it's like, how soon till I die?
Right. Yeah.
So you know, if somebody gets that message this morning, then that's been an important thing that, you know, you've done this morning, is bring it to them, bring that message. And that's where the book comes from, the harmony of parts. It's putting together the parts of your life so they all work together and just, away you go.
So I highly recommend The Harmony of Parts. John
Amazon.com.
There you go. And I'm raising a glass. Here's to the next thing.
All right. Well, thank you, Josh. And I hope you come and see the show sometime. You've got at least through January.
Oh, my gosh. I desperately want to. I hope that it happens.
Me too.
All right. Very good. John Garabedian!
Whee!